How not to be a dick on the Talkback. So, your music's being recorded, you're in the control room, and you got one or more live rooms of musicians waiting with bated breath for your response to a take they've just played. Somebody trusted you with the microphone, so you push the button, you open your mouth, out comes this big cloud of toxic green mist, and everybody either thinks you're an idiot, or they're confused or bored or not having any fun anymore. Your talkback behavior can affect the way the music is played much more than you'd think. It's true, it's a job for most musicians, and it's my experience that pros are not easily impressed, but they're not easily discouraged either. They do speak of their workday when they get home in terms of that was a fun session, or that was a terrible session, or that was a boring session. Right? This issue, it's much less of a musical issue than it is a morale issue, the talkback. When you're working with musicians in a live room, especially if there's no conductor, talk often. Keep the communication open at all times. There's nothing more disheartening for an ensemble than to work hard playing a take, maybe 5 full minutes of concentration on intonation and phrasing and timing and all that, and then they get to the end, they cut off, they remain silent for the end of the take, and they hear nothing in the headphones for 30 seconds after that. So if you have to go back and listen to something in the control room and the musicians have to wait, and you therefore really don't have anything to say to them, just say, great guys, just having a listen for a moment. Be aware of the strange void the player's in. They're sitting in a live room with headphones on. They're deeply concentrating on not only playing the part correctly, with emotion, but they're not making any extraneous noises like chair squeaks or shoe squeaks. It's certainly not an ideal place to socialize, but people aren't machines. So they will appreciate an update as to what's happening in the control room and how their last take sounded. Another crucial component is your attitude on the talkback. So hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, but 80 people in a room who feel more underappreciated with every passing minute might be comparable. I used to work with a dude who was a renowned vibe killer. He was a poisonous man, grouchy and vague, more importantly, vague on the talkback. And with him, the only time in my life, I saw the musicians actually ask for someone else to be on the talkback. The leader of the ensemble went to the recording engineer and asked him to either speak himself or find someone else to give him feedback. I saw him a few times after that, but not too much, and now I don't see him at all anymore. I've seen a whole lot of sessions go sideways because the person on the talkback, the take ends and he says something like, "It was out of tune. We need one more from bar 35. Right? Who is out of tune? Where and how are they out of tune? So I would have said something like, sounded really good, guys. First violin's 37. Watch that E natural. It sounds funky with the oboe. She's got that line too. And the rest is beautiful. We need one more from 35. Cool? And then there's a pause for a question. Should there be one? All right, eight clicks to 35. So I've given a direct order for sure, but with one short statement, I have told the first violins that it was their fault and not the second violins, told them exactly what was wrong, told them exactly where the problem was. I've given them a reference point by mentioning the oboe. I've left room for a question to either me or to the conductor. I've told them where we're starting and how many clicks until they play. And most importantly, I've been a nice dude. Perhaps implicit in saying that one specific thing was wrong is the idea that a whole lot was right, but I've chosen to say this out loud. And with regard to the 8 clicks to 35 instead of just 2 bars to 35, this number of clicks thing becomes increasingly important when you're working with things like film scores, and tempos are changing just as much as the time signatures are. And with a whole lot of 2, 4, 3, 4, 7, 8, 4, 4, 3, 8, whatever, it's incredibly handy to hear 6 clicks in instead of 2 bars in after playing 2 hours of mixed meters. So my nice but long-winded guy approach may seem like overkill considering efficiency is the goal, but it is much more efficient in the long run I promise. I promise. So, imagine debating someone who makes perfect sense, but they grumble at you for a few hours instead of making sense and in an informative and entertaining way, right? It'll make the conversation much better. So this approach will make the session, and therefore the sound of your music, because everybody's feeling good, better. And it's also not uncommon for musicians to give compliments on talkback behavior, demonstrating how important this point actually is. So maybe watching this made you less of a dick on the talkback. Maybe you were never a dick in the first place. And maybe you're a hopelessly insufferable dick who can and will never change. Right? So to all three of those guys, I say thank you for watching this video.